Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Millennial Talks. Last week we showed you how to create a vision board. It was a very practical video, step-by-step process on how to create your vision board. And we said that a vision board is a pictorial representation of your dreams and goals that you want to achieve within a particular period of time. Now, it's not enough to have a vision board. How do you achieve your visions how do you achieve those pictures or those things you've put on your vision board? That's where you need an action plan. But before we go forward to talking about what an action plan is, if you have not watched the video, kindly go and watch it so you can understand properly what we are actually going to discuss today. So moving back to an action plan. An action plan is a detailed step-by-step process on how you want to get from that pictorial representation on your vision board to achieving it in reality. So that's really an action plan, what an action plan is. So what are the plans you have, in place to achieve, that plan, that vision on your board? So, Ifemi, welcome to the show today. It's nice to see you again and having this conversation. So, do you have an action plan, or what exactly do you think would be an action plan for you?
So a warm welcome to all our viewers that actually watched us create our lovely vision boards. Yes. So what I'd like to say about an action plan is that, like you mentioned, the vision board, and as they watched in the previous episode, it's a pictorial representation of what it is that you want for yourself, right? But it's not enough to want something. How do you want to achieve it? How do you want to get it done? That is where an action plan comes in. So the spin here for me is that you could do an action board or you could do an action plan. How many boards do you really want to have around? So having an action plan is where journaling and documentation comes in. For instance, you mentioned earlier that it's a detailed step-by-step plan of how they want to get their visions into accomplishments. It's really an evidence of how you plan to get to where it is you want to get to, and an evidence of the time frame that you have stipulated for yourself to actually achieve these milestones for yourself.
Basically, so bringing your dreams to reality. How do you bring them to reality?
Yes, exactly. Because you could stare at those pictures all day that you have on your vision board and really have no idea how to even get it done, which is why we thought that it was essential that we have this conversation so that they know, yes, I have my action plan, and yes, I know how I want to get all these things done.
Yeah, I think it's very important because we live in a generation where everybody wants everything, and people are building castles in the air. I want to drive Benz. I want to buy a new car and stuff like that. So we'll be picking items from our vision board that we detailed out last week, or on the video in the previous episode. We're picking items. So for me, I'm just picking how an action plan towards my, let's say, education for a professional course. While which one would you be going for? Travel. La vida loca. Okay. For me, the very first thing, on my own vision board, if you saw the video, I put I want to take a professional course relating to data analytics. Now the first thing is to do a research on, of course, I won't just wake up one morning and I'm already a professional. No. So the first thing for me to do is to research
exactly
the course I want to take, the school I want to take, what's the duration, and particularly the amount of money I would need to achieve that particular goal. So before I actually move on, I was supposed to mention the fact that you can do these steps out in an Excel sheet, in a jotter, and like if I mentioned, you can journal it. Journaling is very essential. You have to really write it down. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to write my professional course research, which course is exactly essential for my level and for the level of expertise I'm actually aiming for. So in order not to waste money, because money is very important in all these things. In order to achieve all these things, money is very important. So
I mean, everything in life is really centered, like money would have to come in at some point.
Yeah, money will have to come in at some point. So I don't want to do a course that at the end of the day it won't be relevant. But I don't do it because at the end of the day, I won't be able to catch up, or it's not something that I would need for the current level I am currently. So I have to do research. Afterwards, I have to, have a savings plan. If the money is not ready, of course, I have to save it. So if, for example, I'm planning or I want to get certified by the end of the year, obviously, and I need, for example, if an average cost is going to be 300,000, and I'm planning and I'm working or I have a business, whatever it is, I have to have a savings plan on ground. So is either I'm saving at least 6 months earlier, I should have had the money on ground or half of the money on ground. So does the school accept instrumental payments? Does the course allow for me paying ahead? So before I start, at least I know I've committed myself to it. Because you just want to go and register for a course that at the end of the day you don't even have the money for.
Right.
So is it that I'll be putting 5% aside every month so I can make up the whole cost? So it's basically an action plan is basically detailed steps on how to reach where you're going. So even if you want to build a house, even the Bible says is that is there anyone who wants to build a house who will not sit down and count the cost first? You have to count the cost. It's not enough to just dream and say, oh, I want to do this. You have to actually count the cost. And really, that's the basic takeaway from this video, is that you should have an action plan. Yes. Write it down somewhere. Okay, I want to set up my business. First step, is my business, does it add value? Is it relevant? Mm-hmm. Will I make money from it? Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make profit from their business, and all of that. So that's really the basic thing. So which at the end of the day, step by step, at what time will I now get there? Because you have to set SMART goals. They have to be specific, measurable, and they have to be achievable. They have to be realistic and timely. So that's really, the basic takeaway from this video. So from vision board to action plan to reality. So for me, that's really just pretty much it.
Okay, so I feel like we move to travel now. Research will still be very essential. So that's one thing so that's one thing that's really essential when it comes to the travel as well. And travel is very dynamic because there are some periods when a whole lot of these travel agencies have discounts. So if you know what your income is like, or what you earn, if you know that you need all these discounts, you need to research the discounts that are available to the plan, or if it's that there's a time when flights are not as expensive, there's a peak period, maybe I think during summer.
Yeah, during summer there's always a peak.
Yeah, right.
You can book flights like way earlier.
Yeah, if you do that, if you book the flights way ahead, then you know that okay, you're going to reduce this certain amount of cost. Then you have to budget. Traveling sometimes can be really costly, so you have to budget. How many weeks do you plan to spend? If I plan to spend 2 weeks, I need to say, okay, for these 2 weeks, so I'm going to another man's country. I want to be a tourist in Turkey or something. You need to know how much you spend. And funny thing is that when tourists go to all these really attraction destinations, they don't know that the transport system is always more expensive because they don't get to use the bus and stuff. So you could also plan ahead to say, okay, do I want to figure out how I could maybe use the bus to reduce that level of that spending expense. So much amount, on transportation,
accommodation. Yeah. So just before you continue, I want to quickly chip that in. The fact that's why people use Airbnb instead of booking hotels. Yeah, people just use Airbnb.
Because those ones are even more like you are in your own space, and you know that like you don't have to maybe do room service. You can just as well get into the kitchen and make something for yourself, which would also help save cost as well. And now that there's the pandemic, I mean, it hasn't stopped. It hasn't actually stopped a lot of people from traveling, but you also have to put in the cost of taking a COVID test. You have to actually pay to get your COVID test done before you leave here, and then maybe when you get to where you are going, you have to make sure that you do those 2 tests. So you have to factor that into your budget as well. And just if you know you want to be visiting a lot of places, just have the plan. Yes.
There are different travel guides you can get online.
Exactly.
Like they are detailed, like even to accommodation, to feeding, to everything. So because they're really, you can actually literally go to Egypt with 350,000 naira on a budget, like on a very serious budget. Some people do shared rooms. Some people do I don't know. There's a way they just have somebody there. They call the person.
And it makes everything really really
So you can
really easy.
you can really travel on a budget, but most times people don't know. If you do your research, you actually find out.
Yes, and I just thought to mention like YouTubers as well, because these days we find that a lot of young individuals are actually in the YouTube space. So one thing that YouTubers do is, if they plan to maybe go to this destination, maybe they work towards getting a sponsored trip. So if that's what it is that you want to do, you need to create your content around these places. You need to create your content around this maybe company that you're looking at to actually sponsor that. So it's in the end, it's all a matter of, you have to be disciplined. You don't procrastinate. If you say you want to travel in maybe December and now it's still January, it's really not too early to plan. The whole essence of the action plan is just it follows your vision board. Really, after you've done your vision board, you want to do your action plan. It's just the same way you've created a budget, like we mentioned in the first episode, and you'd have to create a financial plan, which we'll even also speak about like subsequently. So what do you think are like some of the benefits of really having this action plan, and how it helps to translate the vision board into reality?
Yeah, like we mentioned last week, the most important thing is discipline. It's easy to build castles in the air and say, I want this, I want that, I would like this. It's easy to just talk. Talk is cheap. But in order to really get to where you're going, you have to be disciplined. You have to plan properly. You have to, there's something called delayed gratification. You have to delay gratification in order to achieve, something that you want. And it's not just really in leisure. People think, leisure is just, sometimes leisure is expensive. To even enjoy yourself, sometimes you need to have money.
And that's why when I was speaking about the plans and the research, I mentioned, you just need to cut costs. Yes, you work so hard and you should enjoy, you should go for vacations, but you still need to be really, really wise and, prudent with it.
Yeah, I think also in terms of travel, I don't know why we're moving so much travel. Like, if you really want to do something like travel or vacation, you don't even really have to travel outside the country. There are places in the country you can go that you can do on a budget. There are beautiful places. It's just that there's so much insecurity around now and stuff. In Kano, I know there's this underwater something in Kano, very beautiful place. I can't remember. In Ekiti. Those places, they're really beautiful places that you can go. In Lagos, there's Jara Beach Resort. This is it's not sponsored, but there's Jara Beach. You need to check Jara Beach Resort out. So I think basically that's just the key takeaway from this video. From vision board to action plan to reality. That's really it. For anything that you set your heart to achieve this year. So we're cheering you on. Go girl, go guy, whatever it is. So that will be all for today's video. Thank you for watching.
And please remember to log on to our website, www.ProShareNG.com, to watch our videos, read our news stories, reports, and analysis.
All right. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.